You have parasites. I wish that was an April Fool's, but it's not. If you eat sushi, salmon, raw produce, walk barefoot, have pets, if you grind your teeth, if you have IBS, skin issues, brain fog, anxiety, it is so easy to catch a parasite. You should Parasite cleanse at least 3 to 4 times a year if you have those symptoms, if you eat questionably, like I said. Oh my gosh.
Welcome to the TikTok influencers you really should know about. I'm your host, Christine Blosdale. In this podcast, you'll get to meet TikTok creators who inspire, motivate, and entertain. Get ready to discover the influencers you may not have heard of yet, but you definitely should know about. Ooh, that's a scary thing. Welcome back, everybody, to the TikTok influencers you really should know about. It's not about how many followers these people have. It's not how pretty and rich and famous they are. It's basically because I absolutely love the content that they create on TikTok, and I think that you really should know about them. And today's guest, man, oh man, my guest today is somebody that you should know for your health, your happiness, and all those things that have been bothering you and you don't know why. Well, it could be because you got little creepy crawlies inside of you. And it doesn't matter where you are, how old you are, who you are, you definitely need to listen to this podcast episode. My guest today is Kim Rogers, and she is the owner and founder of Rogers Hood. Is that correct?
Correct.
Rogers Hood.
Yep.
Now, we affectionately in TikTok land refer to her as the Worm Queen. And if you search in TikTok, the Worm Queen, her channel will come up. So you don't have to worry about her name even. Like, what was her lady's name? No, just the Worm Queen. So let's welcome to the show, the Worm Queen, Kim Rogers.
Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, girl. Now let's talk about this. And how did you get interested in worms, parasites, creepy crawlies, bacteria that are going around in our body? Is this something that you've just sort of stumbled upon, or something that's actually happened to you and you dove into that crazy well of information?
Well, all of it. And it was because of TikTok. So in 2019, I actually opened up my first TikTok account. And then I started to research mushrooms and a better understanding of my health because I was declining pretty rapidly. I was very ill. And so my husband and I basically said our goodbyes, got our affairs in order, went out to our recreational property to build a log home and to figure out what was wrong with me. And in that process, I was showing people how to grow mushrooms and I was showing my log home build. So I was kind of known as the mushroom queen when this whole thing started in 2019 with TikTok. And I think you might be the first person I've actually talked to from TikTok that isn't from Instagram or the podcast world over on YouTube. So it's fun that I'm actually getting to, after almost 5 years of going viral because of TikTok, to talk about it. So I started to really heal myself after about a year and a half, but I still wasn't at an optimal level. So around June of 2021, I was scrolling TikTok with a purpose, and I came across a gal who said she almost unalived herself over worms. And I remember a few years ago, I also thought I had worms, and my doctors gaslit me and said, "There's no way." And I come from Western medicine.
That's
And so
right.
I'm sure I've gaslit a few people myself saying, "Oh, we're a first world. There's no way we could have them." So I did a cleanse and it was viral at the time, Paragard. And I saw roundworm and flukes within 3 days. And I felt like a totally different person after doing this parasite cleanse. So I took to TikTok and I told everyone, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I've been in Western medicine over 18 years and I've never dewormed myself. And I just did. And here's what happened." And I talk about it and I went viral. Like
Yeah.
the first 2 hours, I had 1 million views.
Wow.
Um, it actually shut my TikTok app off. And then it shut my phone off because
No,
even though
it
TikTok's app shut it off, it was still rolling with likes and comments. And I think that video has 7,900 comments. And so it has like 740,000 likes. Like I was just beside myself that day because all of a sudden this happened. And then all of my husband's family was coming that day to help me start the build of our log home. And I'm like, well, it looks like I'm not helping over there because like I'm going viral over here. So I'm going to go over here. And so I just saw that this was something. People were in my comments saying, what did you do? Did you bind? Did you do a heavy metal detox? Like, I mean, it was just wild. And I have done this every day since that day. I have not taken a day off.
wow. That's how prevalent, that's how bad the situation is, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
okay. So
It's that bad. It's
now,
wild. It's why I started my business. So,
and like you had alluded to before, we in the Western culture seem to think,
mm,
we're sophisticated, and that's for those third world countries. They need to worry about the worms and the parasites and the creepy crawlies. Not
yep.
here, not in
Right.
this sophisticated society. We have sanitation, we have hygiene, right? But it
Our
doesn't
water
matter.
is really great. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell the audience, tell me, where do we pick up these nasty little fuckers? Excuse my language.
Well, oh no, it's good because they
Okay, good.
are. So most of our country's water is contaminated. I would never drink our water in the United States. And I'm going to just take a limb out here and be like Western medicine countries. But probably the bigger places that people can get them is when you have pets because we deworm our pets. So, but we just don't deworm ourselves. They're outside drinking in puddles, eating poop, licking themselves, getting involved with other dogs. And so that's one. Sushi, salmon. Most fish have parasites in them. It doesn't matter if you freeze it. The only way to really unalive worms and fish is by cooking it. And so then walking barefoot, swimming in lakes, eating undercooked like pork and beef, not soaking your produce. These are all ways that not only Western medicine countries get them, but other countries like Mexico know you can get them. And they do allow their citizens to go and get prophylactic treatment at the pharmacy, and we're just not allowed here in Western medicine countries. So I that's why I created a kit that's accessible to anyone in the world, is because I used the same style and the same thought process as Western medicine with medications to then translate that into herbs in a kit, and I give instructions. Because at one point I was working 8, 9 hours on TikTok, just literally doing videos after videos showing people what to use for heavy metals, what to bind with, what to use for candida. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, you should combine all of these to make a really nice parasite cleanse. And I'm talking about this with other people's products. And when I reached out to those other people and said, hey, what natural ingredients are you using? And they wouldn't give me that information. I felt like, well, we're all trying to be transparent here, putting things in back into our body that's going to help us. And if you're not willing to tell me that, I'm not willing to talk about you anymore.
Right, right.
And yeah, and at that time there wasn't affiliates, like there wasn't Linktree, like literally 4 years ago, this wasn't even in existence. And so I was like, well, I need to do something then. And so after 6 months after I went viral, I started my own company. And that's kind of what made this propel even more, is that not only am I talking about it, but I have a solution, a
Yes.
third party, organic, all natural. We make it ourselves in our own 10,000 square foot manufacturing facility that we built ourselves, that we manage ourselves, and we do it all of ourselves. That is so unheard of in the United States. And so that's really what's pushed this to be a bigger phenomenon, because of the fact that not only do I have a fun, catchy name, because I didn't want to be known as Worm Lady, but I wanted to be crowned Worm Queen. I feel like because we have made this a thing, showing how other companies should be producing their products and be transparent to their customer, but also I'm educating you and giving you free resources and
Yeah.
assisting you in order for you to understand your body. And I come from Western medicine. I have 2 healthcare degrees. I ran 25 healthcare colleges. I wrote medical educational books. I served on advisory boards. I do continuing education. Like I have been in this world my whole life. And so coming into this and finding out that I had parasites and then talking about parasites and really educating people about parasites and mold, environmental toxins, I feel like is what made this such a phenomenon. Thanks
Oh,
for letting me
excellent.
say it all.
Yeah, no. And just for our wonderful list, well, for the people that are watching this on YouTube, I'm holding up actually my kit. Now, I have not started the parasite cleanse because I wanted to talk to you first, Kim, the worm
Yeah.
queen, because I need to. But I'm holding up, for those that are just listening, I'm holding up the kit that you can get, and we'll put a link in the show notes so you can actually order your own parasite cleanse kit. Now, this, it comes complete, and thank you very much for having detailed instructions, because there's nothing
Right?
worse than getting the solution to your problem and then not knowing what the hell to do or how to do it.
Yeah.
So thank you
Well,
for the card that comes with
you're
it.
welcome. You're welcome. I
And
include the card and the instructions are on the bottle as well because you just never know if you lose a card. And you can email us and we'll send them to you and you can DM us. Like I have a whole
you
team.
see
We have
that?
30 team members.
Now, just really quickly, let's go through just a few of these things here. We've got the first little bottle here. It says Parify. What is that?
Correct.
What is that?
Parify is parasite purify. It's actually trademarked. We made up a word. It's kind of fun and it can go in the dictionary. So it's kind of a cool thing. We got to make up a word because of all of this. But that is your parasite cleanse. It has wormwood, black walnut hull, hawthorn, garlic, and you go in and it assists with removing and aiding the parasites and their eggs. And then the garlic comes in and assists with all of that as well.
And this is very important. We'll come back to those eggs because I
Yeah.
know this is really important because people go, well, oh, I'll just kill off these things with whatever. And
Right.
but then they have a survival mechanism, don't they?
Yes, they do
They release eggs
on
because
their way out.
they know they're dying. And so it's like
Hmm.
some weird reproductive thing that they have, that they're just going to
Yep.
shoot a bunch of eggs in you, and then that's not good because that makes you even sicker. So we'll come back to that.
Yes.
Now, what's
Okay.
this next little bottle is Sustain.
Sustain is one of my favorite tinctures. It is Oregon grapefruit, which is also another antiparasitic for additional style of worms that are in your small intestine. And then it has usnea, and usnea is Mother Nature's doxycycline. So what happens with these parasites that are physical is they hold on to viruses, spores, heavy metals 6 to 8 times their weight. And so when you're removing them, they're dropping all of that, including their eggs. So you need something to come in as an herb to help remove what they're dumping so that it doesn't go back into your body and back into your bloodstream and reinfect you. And when I was doing these parasite cleanses, I actually had tested negative for Epstein-Barr virus most of my life and well, all my life. And then I did a parasite cleanse without all of this aid, and I have Epstein-Barr virus, and it is
Wow.
consistently active. And so what happened was because I didn't bind and I also didn't use an herb like usnea to come in, I basically infected myself with something that they had been holding on to for most of my life. And so I have blood work to back this up. I got a lumbar puncture at one point in my life and it all came back negative for EBV. So when I was going through this and I found out that I had that, I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I desperately need them to be able to have something so this doesn't happen to them." Because
Yes.
when I was going viral, I was just talking about what I knew at the time because this is not my specialty. It is now, but it wasn't then.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, so the sustain has Oregon grapefruit, usnea, and then it has peppermint to help with digestion. And I also found out I have chronic Lyme in the process of all of this. And so I found out that usnea is amazing for Lyme. And I take sustain every day because it really does help with all of my symptoms.
Okay.
So that's the other tincture. And then our third tincture is
Yeah.
metal flush. And metal flush, in my journey of this parasite cleansing world, you are dropping heavy metals, which then can also cause other issues while you're detoxing. So I added cilantro. So I have cilantro in Meadow Flush. But the big thing that's in Meadow Flush is it has lungwort lichen. And lungwort lichen breaks the biofilm. So parasites and mold and other toxins create a hardened biofilm around themselves to be evaders. And so you have to go in and break their home up. So you're going in and you're nuking their home, exposing them to allow the other herbs and the other tinctures to come in and clean house so
Right.
that there's nothing left. If you're just doing a normal parasite cleanse without a biofilm buster, you are doing a disservice to yourself. And so I found that out in the process of all of this because I was still having so many parasites and so many issues, and I couldn't figure out why. And it was because I wasn't going in with anything like a biofilm breaker. So I went in and I researched what organic foraged herb can I use to break down biofilm. And lungwort lichen is that. It also helps break mucus down and it helps clear out lung issues. And people that have pinworms probably have some lung issues and respiratory issues. And so I made sure that when I created all of this, that it had a way to break the biofilm down as well as remove the heavy metals. And when you're doing a cleanse, you got to support. So I added dandelion root in there to support your liver.
Oh my God.
It's a science project.
So they have heavy metals inside them?
Yes, they hold on to heavy metals.
Oh my God, they're little
Yep,
bastards.
they
Okay.
are.
Okay.
And then the last thing is
Yes.
cinnamon, and cinnamon is your binder. And anytime you do anything to disrupt your body, including synthetic, I talk about synthetic parasites cleanses. So if you take a synthetic pill like Ivor or Fend, you want to always bind. You never want to do anything without binding. And so binding is charcoal, clay, and in my case, I like Ceylon cinnamon and coconut activated charcoal, so I named it Cinnabon. And what
Okay.
it does is it goes in and charcoal is a negatively charged herb and you're going into a positively charged environment and you're magnetizing what's being discarded from the positive charge to allow it to not go back into your bloodstream, your body, your tissues, and your muscle. And anytime you do anything like a massage or you eat like pumpkin seeds, that's anti-parasitic, you want to bind. You want to always bind whenever you do anything that could disrupt your body of any kind. And so I didn't know about binders. I'm going viral. I'm sitting here talking about it. I went like 3 months and I never binded, and it made my husband and I very ill. So I vowed that if I ever did my own company, that I would have a full kit with instructions because I was spending so many hours a day talking about other things that I needed to have something where when I talked about it, you could hold it up and you could go, oh, yeah, and you understood.
And this last part of it, of this 4-part series, is really
Hmm.
important because if you're releasing all of these metals and they also defecate, right? I mean,
Yes.
they're they're pooping, they're laying their eggs, they're going crazy because they know something's up. For
Yes.
years and decades, they've been living all happy in your body and making go for those cookies and candies, because that's another thing I've heard, that
Yes.
if you have a sweet tooth, a lot of times it's not your sweet tooth, it's their
It's
sweet tooth,
theirs.
right?
Right.
So they make you crave those things. So they've been living cool in a nice warm environment. And now you're going
Rent
in and you're
free.
busting through the biofilm, nuking them, and they're pissed. They're not happy.
Yeah.
So
They're so
that
mad.
binder is really important. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. So we have this kit. Again, I'll have a link in the show notes. People can check it out. It's for a 30-day. This one kit is for a
Mhm.
30-day cleanse. And now you say you should cleanse a couple times a year, correct?
Right. Three
Okay.
to four times a year.
Okay.
I chose 30 days specifically because we've been somewhat indoctrinated and think that, the longer it takes, the harder it is. And people kind of stop doing it after 30 days. And you can make or break a habit in 21 days. So I wanted to go past 21 days, but it's definitely 30 days to start. And then if you still feel yucky after the 30 days, I actually give you around 45 days worth of products so you can keep
Oh,
going.
Okay.
And then you just want to take a break. If you want to do back to backs, you want to take a break for 7 days between to allow them to lay more eggs to go in and then whoosh, get rid of those eggs.
Now, when we're talking these creepy, crawly, weird things, there's a whole host of them, right? It's like an alien.
Hmm.
It's like alien call. It's like different species. So, what
Yep.
is it that's inside of us? Because when you were doing the list of the things, when you were talking about, I was on my hands and toes, like going, "Oh, I walk barefoot. I hate shoes. I'm like the guy, the Jungle Book character, right? I don't like to wear shoes. I don't like to wear that many clothes, but shoes I don't like. I like to feel the earth." Okay. So when you said walking barefoot, I'm like, yeah. Have pets, yeah. Much to my chagrin with the cat, but that's okay because he scratches everything too, right? Okay. So pets, sushi. Ah, I love the sushi. I
You
love the
just have to
sushi.
cleanse.
But I
You just
know,
cleanse.
yeah,
We just know about it now,
but
right?
now you've ruined it for me because now I don't even want to eat it. I look and I look at a beautiful sushi roll and I go, you no, because you were saying in a square inch of salmon, what was
It
the
can harbor
number?
10,000 parasite eggs.
Say that again for the people in the back.
1 inch of salmon can harbor 10,000 parasite eggs. I know. It's so sad. I
It's
love
really
salmon. I
sad.
miss it. I live in Seattle. Like,
Oh
this
my
is like
God,
the
you're
salmon capital of the world, and I can't eat salmon here. And I
so
can I can barbecue a mean salmon, but I just can't get past it. Now, if you cook it, you're good, right? Like,
you
I
gotta
just can't get past it,
yeah,
but you
no.
gotta really cook it.
Yeah, but that wipes out the sushi thing. So that's like goodbye. Okay, okay. So sushi and undercooked, obviously undercooked
Uh,
food.
Anything not cooked, right? You
And I
should
know
cook your
pork
food.
is full of. I don't like pork.
Well, pork is full of them because of the fact that the pig only has one stomach and it doesn't have a lymphatic system, so it doesn't detox. So everything just stays inside of it and it rolls around in its own shit. So, and
Right.
it's eating it and like, and then it's like inside of the meat. And, that's just that. Like RFK Jr. actually has a dead body of tapeworm in his brain. It's called neurocystic and it's still there, but it's not alive. And so it ate some of his brain, and he talks about it. So this is like a legitimate thing,
They,
and like,
they can eat your
hmm
brain. They can get
yeah,
in there in your blood
it
system.
can,
Okay. So
yeah,
so sushi. Okay. So sushi,
yeah,
walking barefoot. Hello,
water.
pets, water.
Water, right? I tested our water. This is what started this whole journey is that our water got tested and it tested positive for nematodes. We had larvae roundworm in our water in Hoodsport. That's what started this whole thing. And I only found out because I actually went and had our water tested by an independent lab that sent it to Mexico because we don't have anywhere in the United States that it can go.
Okay. So so living. So if you're living and breathing, basically you've got you can get
Basically,
these things.
yeah.
Now,
They
what
say
are the
like
different
95% of us have parasites.
oh now what are the different parasites and worms and things that we can get? Because I know it's not just one species.
Well, so parasites are multiple different words. You've got protozoas, which are Giardia, D. fragilis, and crypto. And I had Cryptosporidium parvium, which is parvo, which kills puppies.
Yeah.
And I got it from the water as well. And so those are microscopic. You can't see them, but a lot of us have Giardia, which is, a microscopic parasite that's a waterborne parasite. And then you have nematodes, which are physical worms, roundworms, flatworms, tapeworms, hookworms, whipworms, pinworms. And a lot of us have pinworms and don't even know it. We just think we have itchy butt, and you don't. You actually probably have more than just itchy butt, especially if it's during the full moon. There is a correlation with the full moon. That's when they flare the highest because you have the more serotonins running through your body, and they actually live off of serotonin with you, and then it creates the serotonin river during the full moon, and then they can go and dislodge themselves and create new communities amongst your body. And so it's all legitimate. That's why people say, oh, people have gone crazy during the full moon. They probably have. And chronically ill people that have flares during the full moon, you for sure have a parasite.
Okay. Now, for those people that are just like completely disgusted yet enthralled at our conversation. What are some, because I know, see, there's been certain symptoms that I didn't know were associated with this. So, like, for the longest time, I was like, why is my belly blown up? Like, and I haven't eaten anything, or I had
Mhm.
a piece of toast. And I'm like, why do I have this issue with this major bloat going on? Okay. And I was like, and I'm thinking, you're just lazy, you're just this, that, and the other. Then weird dreams. Apparently, I grind my teeth, and I didn't know this,
Oh,
but I grind my
you're good.
teeth. Yeah, I wake up in the middle of the night, and my teeth are like, I'm like, oh my god, what am I doing? All kinds of different things, skin issue, all these different things. And I'd gone to my doctor, and finally, my doctor, who's a Western medicine doctor here in Australia, thank you, Dr. Marie. She was like, you know what, you might have an issue with worms, with parasites. And I was like, what do you mean? So she alerted me, and then I saw all of your stuff, and I'm now down this rabbit hole. What are some
It's a
other symptoms?
wormhole.
What are
Christine,
some
you're in
other
a
symptoms?
wormhole.
Yeah, what are some, so people who are listening going, that
Mm.
might be me. What are some other symptoms that people may experience?
Drooling at night, craving salt, craving sugar, insomnia, eating after 7 p.m., especially at, sugar and
Sugar.
salt, because, yep, that definitely is a huge indication. Insomnia is big because they're nocturnal creatures and they wake up at 7 and then they live rent free in your body. So they're up all night, keeping you up all night, and then you're sleeping all day or you're tired. Fatigue, brain fog, definitely skin issues. They came out of my skin. I went viral because it came out of my skin and my urine, and that's really unusual. But urine is just a runoff of your blood. And so they're in our blood, our tissue, and our muscles. So it really does make sense that you pee them out, right? Because that's where toxins come out of parts of your blood as your urine. So really accumulation of a lot of problems I think that Western medicine countries have, which you're in a Western medicine country,
Yeah.
and definitely bloating after
Gas.
eating, even if you're just drinking gas, smelly gas, because they're fermenting in our gut, especially something like candida. Candida is a parasite. A parasite's definition is anything that lives off the host, or in Latin, any an unwanted dinner guest. That's also a definition of a parasite, which is gross, but it's the truth.
Oh my goodness. You are doing the Lord's work.
I
Kim,
mean,
you are,
I'm just really lucky that I have the knowledge to be able to have like stepped in, because I'm not just a random chick off the internet, like
no,
I really do have backing of medicine. It just is Western medicine, but it's all about the same type of logic. And that's kind of how I pivoted this. I was really sick. So if this is what it was for me to not die in the woods, then I am happy to help anybody and everybody that I possibly can. Like, I'm as loud as you can get. I go on people's podcasts to talk about
yeah,
this. I know I'm making a ripple effect. It's just really important for people to understand their body. Like, you need to understand how all of this works.
yeah. Well, and with Western medicine too, they don't teach doctors about this. They don't
Right.
make this mandatory, learning. I know even just nutrition, right? I mean, there's very
Hmm.
little that's spent on that. So you think about all the all the diseases that we have, we're treating it with this drug and that drug and surgery and all these things. And perhaps maybe it's coming from this issue that we're not
Yep.
really paying attention to, right?
Right.
And
And
you mentioned
on
Epstein
that per
Barr. I mean,
Yep. On the personal note of that, I had 13 surgeries and a hysterectomy when I was 29, and I couldn't have any more surgeries. And that's really what made me go down the wormhole. Is I was in excruciating pain. I was declining rapidly. I can actually show you, if I didn't send this over, I can show you how sick I really was.
oh, oh wow. Look, you look like a
And
completely different person.
yeah, it's really wild. And so when I ended up finding this out, it really like saved my life, because my husband and I didn't know what else to do. And my surgeons all said, "Oh, there isn't anything left for us to do. This is just the way you're going to live. You're going to live in pain. You're not going to always go poop consistently." I'd gone 30 days and didn't poop. It
Oh,
was very uncomfortable.
very
And
toxic.
so it, Yeah, it really is because it just goes right back into your body. And so it really was when I say that, like, I did this, and within 3 days, I felt relief and I saw roundworm and flukes in the toilet and I knew I had pinworms. I could see them. And so it really was like eye opening. And I went down the hole. I've studied other countries' medicine. I know what the Amish do for parasite cleansing, Mexico, what they do in Guatemala, Jamaica. So in Germany, this is huge in Germany. And like we just don't recognize it. And that's really disappointing coming from my field, you know?
Wow. You had mentioned too the you wouldn't be where you are now and helping so many people globally because the TikTok channel, of course, that's blowing up, and Instagram, and now you also have your own podcast. It's called
Mhm.
What's Eating You with the letter U. We'll put a link in there because, and also
Yeah.
I will subscribe. I will be a subscriber. Um, so you're reaching so many people, but it reminds me of a dear client and a dear friend of mine who was like at the age of like 19 given like basically, you're going to die, there's nothing we
Yeah.
can do, there's no more we can do for you. She was so sick, and she started to study everything she could about the colon and the digestion, right? And
Mhm.
she's known sort of as the gut health queen, I guess you'd say. But she had to actually take her health into her own hands and say, these people are telling me I'm going to just go die, and
Right.
I have a lot of life to live. And so she just studied and looked at all the different things and came to her place where she can now help other people. So that's a beautiful thing that you took something that
Mhm.
was a negative and something that a lot of people would just be frozen in fear and just say, this is my lot in life. And you were
Yeah.
like, hell no.
Right? Yeah, I took my pain to purpose because who wants that diagnosis at 40 something years old? I don't. I didn't. I wanted to see my log home be built. I wanted to be a part of that. I have a lot left, and it just really was unfortunate that I didn't have 80 doctors on my side, but I didn't care. I have the knowledge and I just dug deep. I found the company that I get my independent testing from. I found out I had chronic Lyme. I found out I had mold poisoning. Like I just wanted to know what was wrong with me. I didn't even need to have solutions. I just needed to know what was wrong with me,
Right.
And I feel like that's how everyone is chronically ill in society right now. And I'm really advocating for a lot of people to talk to our medical reform, however that looks. Why don't we have access to better testing for parasites and mold? Like, this is kind of ridiculous in 2025 that I had to go off some random place on the internet when my doctors couldn't help me anymore.
No,
So,
you're right. Those tests it should be included. It should be
yeah.
free for people. And also if they find out that they are, especially if they've got that infestation, but it should be like your annual or semi-annual
Yeah.
type thing that is covered,
Totally.
right? It
Totally. There
here's your
are ways to find out without even having that type of testing. Like there are certain blood markers that will go high during the full moon, but the knowledge is not there for the doctors to look at. And I have my records from the day I was born. And I literally went back and I looked at this one marker and I know I have mold from the day I was born. Like my mom has mold, like I've done her genetics, I've done mine, and it's always been high. And I've always said, why is this high? And they'd come back and they're like, oh, you're fighting an infection. I'm like, every time I get blood work, then what's the infection? And then they end up not liking me because, I'm like questioning
you're
them. And
that
I'm also
person,
like, look, I'm
you're
in
that
the
kid,
field.
you're that kid in the classroom who's like, excuse me.
Yeah, totally. I'm like, look, I'm also in the field. And they're like, oh, show off, know it all. No, I just want to know everything about my body. At the end of the day, I have to go to bed. At the end of the day, I'm the one that has to lay my head down thinking about what did I do today? How did I help myself? How did I help others? You're not going to do that for me. You spent 5 minutes with me, got
Yeah.
paid for an hour, and
Yeah.
now I'm supposed to accept that. And that's just never been who I am.
Well, thank God you're who you are. So I'm so happy that I'm just like I said too, and I'm so happy that I came my FYP. You came on my FYP, and
Nice.
I was just hooked like a hookworm. A little worm joke for you. So if people want to find out more
Yeah.
about you, of course, they can go to your website,
Yep.
rogersfood.com. They can go
Correct.
there.
Welcome to my hood.
They can go to like Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. Uh,
Correct. Find the helpers.
yes. So we got that link there, but also if they want to get started on that kit, I will have that link in the show notes. They can do that. And we'll also link to your podcast show as well. What's
Nice.
Eating You? Kim, it's been an absolute delight talking about very weird, creepy things in our bodies, but you're welcome back on the show anytime. And how
Nice.
about, because I feel like I've got to psychologically get ready for this too. Like before I jump into this, any quick tips before I do this? Like, do I need to, I've heard that you should do some kind of like lymphatic thing or something.
Yep. Okay. So in my profile, I have free resources. Download the fast track guide. It's like 10 pages long. Also download the drainage guide. All of this is free. We also have a cookbook that's in there that'll just kind of guide you. It says no meat, but I've done a lot of research. You can still eat meat proteins just as clean as possible. And then we have a lymphatic kit that's dropping soon. So definitely check all of that out. That helps move your lymphatic. Make sure you're doing the 3 Ps: peeing, pooping, and perspiring. So get out there, get
Exercise.
on a vibration plate, exercise, go in a sauna, go in a cold plunge, do anything you can to support your body. If you aren't peeing and pooping and perspiring, you should pause and try and do that. But my tinctures are great. It's 3 times a day, all 3 tinctures, and bind at night. I made this as easy as possible. Even my husband can do it.
Thank you. Thank you, Kim. We need easy in this world.
Easy.
It's too many things going on. We need easy, simple, easy, and fun. That's my motto. My guest today has been Kim Rogers, also known as the Worm Queen. You can find her on TikTok and Instagram, all over the place. But if you want to go right to her TikTok channel, there's a link in the show notes. You can get to her. Again, thank you so much, Kim, for the great work you're doing. And I tell you what, like I said, I'm going to do this, and then I'll touch base with you.
Let's have me back.
And then I'll have you back.
We can talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
Exactly. Okay. All right. Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you. And thank you, wonderful listeners who are listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the great platforms. If you want to share this episode, do it. If you know of somebody who ain't feeling right, share this with everybody, because everybody has these issues. You can do that super easy. And if you're watching on YouTube, again, share this link if you don't mind. If you want to find more information about this show, if you want to check out past episodes, you can do that by going to the TikTokinfluencers.com. If you want more information about me and all the groovy stuff that I do, you can go to expertauthoritycoach.com. All those great, gorgeous links will be in the show notes. And until next time, remember, keep scrolling, because you never know. You might meet somebody that is going to be an influence in your life, and you want to share that word with other people. All right. Until next time, take care.